allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. We're going to have a few announcements to make. Tonight's meeting is going to be rather short. We have the candidates night tonight at 7 o'clock. Also like to announce the police chief has put up on their Facebook page, for those of you with the social media and that have not been able to attend the open houses at the police station, there'll be a video, a virtual walkthrough, which is available on their, I believe it's the Facebook page. As I said, candidates night will be tonight at 7. Voting will be Tuesday, March 12th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Messinic High School. And there will be a mother-son dance on March 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. at High Bridge Hill.
I had to change the date on that. It's actually, it's now March 16th.
Now it's moved up to March 16th, and it's the 50s theme. Good. Okay. Yeah. Did you read that?
I did.
You good with it?
I'm good with it.
Is this the same one we used last time? Do you know?
No, I can't find one that we used last time. In fact, I was told that there was none. So I stole one from another town in New Hampshire.
I'll read this later. This will have to go into a non-public for.
Yeah.
Oh, did some homework here. Anything with Southwest Regional? I see about the charrette.
I spoke with Lisa Murphy at the Southwest Region Planning Commission, and she thinks that they may be able to help us and that there might be some funding opportunities through the Complete Streets program. She is going to have J.B. Mack or Henry Underwood arrange to come out and meet with the board after town meeting, so that they can get a better sense of what, your vision is for the project.
Could you schedule that? Even if it's,
Sure.
April, May, whatever.
Okay. All right. And then the information on the Plan New Hampshire, I thought that used to be a grant funded, program that was awarded to a town, but this talks about a $6,000 fee, which may very well be worth it, given the expert help that you get, but
Who is it that
they have,
provides the expert help?
they have a team of volunteers who work in various areas around planning, and they've got engineers, architects, landscape architects, and they come to your town for like a weekend, and you invite the public, and they hear what people want, and they put it on paper, and they give you like a book that shows some sketches and some, rough plans for.
For
how
that
they-
community or from one that they've
No,
done?
for
that?
specific to that
Specific, okay.
community and its needs. And it's a really amazing, process, as long as you can get people to provide input.
Participate, yeah.
And, from a diverse group. So.
Good.
Yeah, I think that might be worth exploring as well.
Something you just said reminded me, and I would like to, for those of you that watch the Selectmen's meeting, is take this opportunity to invite people to participate in the town functions. We have a lot of committees and boards, and we could use some volunteers. And if you're waiting to be asked, consider this my request to ask, please volunteer. I know the zoning board is looking for people. Planning board is always looking for alternates. Conservation Commission.
Board of Assessors.
We go on and on, but please consider it.
Yeah, there's positions this year that are running with no one on the ballot. We have many positions running uncontested. So there's plenty of opportunity for people to get involved and to get involved in the whole process. So.
Okay. So this is being run in the paper, and I'll assume it's up on the website. We also have a position for pool director. That's going to be advertised, and it is on our website.
Yeah, and it was probably in today's paper.
Perfect.
Is that one in the park though?
I just didn't even.
I just based on the address. Is that in the park? Yeah, that's the
This is in the. I didn't know they renamed it.
That's what they
Okay.
call it. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, because they don't own the land it sits on.
Apparently, the owner passed away.
Right, but what I mean is
Right.
the park owns the plot.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just
The park has this mobile home that's abandoned,
right.
and they want it gone. And,
I'm sure there's got to be something in their covenants to take care of that.
well, I don't know, they said that they're working with a lawyer, but because the person passed away without a will, there was no action.
Mm-hmm.
And so their hope was that the town might condemn it.
But even if we condemn it, doesn't get rid of the trailer.
Yeah, it just condemns a building
Yeah,
that sits there.
keeps somebody from going in.
Yeah, I mean, because and that's
Maybe
what I
that
mean.
would give them the right to get rid of it.
But what I'm saying is if it's been since 2004, who's been paying the lease on the piece of property it sits on?
Oh, nobody, and they've taken action through.
Right.
In
So they can-
that regard.
So they can destroy it, take it, do what they want with it.
Well, I think it's going to be a civil matter. They have
Right.
they have to go before the court to
Yeah.
get the
Because it's
permission to
yeah.
remove it.
So you don't think there's a role for the town?
No, if there was a safety issue of
Or it was coming up on one of these lists, you know.
Well, yeah. They're saying that there is a safety issue, that it's a nuisance.
there's a difference between a nuisance and a safety.
Right. Without having inspected it,
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, because as part of the park, they could fence it off, and then now they no longer have a safety issue.
yeah. So will you contact Kim, or are you gonna contact, is there a contact at the Freedom Pond Co-op?
Yeah, I'll speak to the
Okay.
gentleman here.
Did we get anything from Jim about, officially,
No,
turning over the building? Do you think we should just at least get it put on the town's insurance,
Yeah.
if we could do that?
sure.
Now, was that,
Trying to see how old it is. Guess they don't put that on here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, built 1920.
I was about to ask, now does that make it a historic building in town, or is it just because they say is what it, I'm just wondering, I mean, I'm just wondering, I mean, I'm not,
I mean, do you demo it or do you save it?
do you sell it? I mean, it's a couple bedroom house with an attached garage. So, that was just my thought looking at it, I'm like, you know,
It doesn't look like it has anything in it. There's no bathrooms, no kitchens, no. If I'm reading this.
yeah. Yeah, I just think it has a septic or what, I don't know what it has, but just one of those, just curious.
Got a place to put the Wachusett?
I don't know, but to maintain one more building as a garage that,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying to get rid of one of those now.
Which one?
Exactly, but that's, I mean, we wanna do that on the next year's warrants, so.
This one later. We did receive an email here from Rachel Anderson that she was not going to be able to make it to the candidates' night tonight, but she would be open to questions from residents regarding her candidacy for the school board, and her contact information is on the messinic.org website under the school board tab. So if anybody has questions, you can contact her. Did Joanne get back to you?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I think this one here. By the way, that state senator that was supposed to have come,
Yeah.
didn't come. Did she
Right.
ever?
No.
Would you mind sending her an email and tell her we missed her having come, but now that there are lots of bills in the House, we would have liked to have had that meeting.
There was one that, it hasn't passed yet, but it was voted on, that essentially it's a premium that we will be assessed on our wages. It's not an income tax. It's a premium assessed on your wages, because your income could be more than your wages, so they don't call it an income tax.
Right.
And it's to pay for the family medical leave insurance.
See, those are the things we need to speak about, because there
Right.
is another one there.
And
Yeah.
100% of one of the parties voted to approve that premium on our wages.
And there's another one that when they don't get the tax on your wages, there is a bill to get the tax on the capital gains.
Correct, that was one of the other
So
ones.
that's how they'll get you.
But I think that one, but so only about 96% of the party voted approval on that one.
Oh,
But 100% on the premium on your wages.
the one that
And
I've had
And she voted yes on that. It's, in fact, she is one of the
sponsors.
sponsors of that bill.
That's why I would like her to be here. I did have a list of
Yeah.
items.
Yes.
So is it too late for her to come?
No, it's never too late.
Okay,
It's
all right.
never too late,
Okay.
because the way this whole thing works is both houses have their bills.
Yep.
Once they pass one, they gotta go to the other,
Right.
so I think they're still in that first step.
We have
And,
a
right,
crossover.
correct. And the other one that did pass in the House, which was a benefit to the town directly, was to have the state start paying a portion of the police, teacher, and fire retirement that they were obligated to when they developed that RSA, and it is now, I forget the terminology they use, but it did pass, but it's being held to see where the monies would come from before it moves anywhere, so that would be a direct benefit for the town of about $15,000, which
Yeah.
they all add up. You know, if they actually had been funding it the way they were supposed to have been, we're talking several $100,000. So.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second?
You certainly may.
Did you guys need to talk about anything that I just handed in?
No, I need to review it first so that then if we have questions, we can.
Okay, alright.
I just thought you had changing plans.
Huh?
I thought you
No,
just.
No, I just, if
No,
something came up,
no,
I
no.
wanted to be here to answer.
I'll review it later, and if there's questions, we'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I think that's it then. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You
too.
too.
Okay.
We did receive this email here regarding the UNH cooperative extension. Did you reply?
No.
We'll have to meet with the guy.
Sure.
Just
Yeah, see what he's got to
see what
say.
he's got to offer, that would be. Clark.
I remember their application last year. I didn't think there was any issue with it, but I think, like anything else, fire, police, and board of selectmen should all sign off on it.
And that's why
Like, I mean, I would.
I was expecting to see a place where police and fire.
Yeah, I think, I think it almost has to be very similar to a fireworks permit, only because of the amount of people that could be out there, that you're gonna need the safety of the town, just at least have knowledge of it, and know that okay, you might have to have an extra officer on that night or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if she could just add the chief and the chief on there as, at least so they have notice of the date.
I'll just say, please add signature approvals.
Mm-hmm.
Police chief and fire chief.
Yeah.
It's a noise.
I know it's a noise thing, but I think it's, I mean, as of right now, I mean, it's a noise ordinance when we sign off for fireworks in all reality, but we still have the fire chief and the police chief sign off, so they have it on their docket, said, hey, when someone calls in a complaint, you go, no, ignore it, we're fine. So.
Can you read that?
Sure. The owner of 21 Temple Road had said that their attorney was finishing up the quiet title thing, so I called the attorney, and she apologized to the board and said that she and her firm had kind of dropped the ball, and that they had just recently filed the suit, and the complaint is out for service, and it's gonna take 60 days to wrap this up, but they are working on it.
Filed a suit?
Apparently, there were some former lenders who got bought out by other banks, and they have to go through this process, almost like a probate type process, to get them to release their rights.
Okay, but it's not a suit, right? A suit, I'm thinking somebody's being sued.
She said they filed suit,
Oh,
maybe with the land court, I don't know,
Okay.
that's what she said.
so she said it's gonna take how long?
60 days
From,
when we spoke.
by the end of April then,
And that's
sometime?
when the owner will be back from Florida.
Coincidental.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the street light, so we're all set with that.
Do you want to go to 30-minute non-public, just to touch base on these?
I know about 30 minutes, but give me
Okay.
2 minutes here to look at some of these other. I was thinking next week is voting. We should try and schedule a meeting to go look at that old town hall and decide what we're gonna do. I think with daylight savings coming up this weekend, that will give us more of an opportunity, I think. I did not get out to Timbertop Road.
I did not either.
Okay.
Not on the far side of
Yeah.
it, no.
And I didn't send you that report either. And I have not spoken with Bart. Colada, did you get the 2 letters out? One for Cargill and the other one for the business on Ashby Road.
I don't know what those are, but they are on my list.
Okay, Temple Road sale, posting and pool communication. Take a motion.
Motion to go into non-public under RSA
91A.
91A3, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person or persons.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming to candidates night. We'll go with Selectmen. First, 3-year term, John Vieser, if you'd like to speak. Feel free to use the microphone.
I believe Rod is.
Yeah, we may not be able to hear you with that.
Well, I think it's more for the show.
Exactly.
Everything Dave?
Yes. John Vieser, running for the position of 3-year term for the Selectmen. I have been on the Selectmen for a little over a year now, filled in a partial term appointed when Selectman Johnson stepped down, ran for the 1-year term last year and was elected. Prior to that, I had served for in capacity on the Budget Advisory Committee and then on the actual Budget Committee in its first year. My basic stance that we continue to try is to do the best for the town. Realize that we have to balance very much improvements versus budgetary increase, taxation. But we've done our best to really bring, I think, a new look at the budgets over the past several years in order to have our department heads look at budgeting long term, not coming to us in 1 year with large purchases that we could break out instead over 5-6 years, whether it be equipment purchases, pieces like that. So hopefully we can continue to do that, as well as to continue to look at improvements just overall in the town to make New Ipswich an attractive town for home purchasers and businesses to come in. So it's a nice town. It's one of those ones when you walk through or you drive through, you remember coming through New Ipswich and the great face that we can put out there and make an attractive community for everybody. So I hope that I have done a job that you've been proud of so far, and I ask that for your vote in next week for another 3-year term. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, John, I noticed you've come out somewhat in support of the police station, the proposed police station warrant article. And as you know, it has both pluses and minuses to it. What are your feelings on the plus and minus side? What do you see the pluses and the drawbacks?
I mean, we were all very honest when we sat in the meeting and looked at it. Is this 100% the plan that we would like? And do we think it's the best plan across the board? No. But several years ago, we put forth a very good plan that was drawn up in order to use the property here on site to redo. And with that comes a much larger price tag. And that was voted down by the voters and the taxpayers of this town. So we had to look at some other options, as well as to be able to continue to have a place for our department to be housed. We do understand that if the building's sold, there's a time frame that we have in order to find a new location. But when you really look at it, is where is the next location that we would have in town to either rent or buy in a short period of time, and that gets very tough. As far as the plus, it's a building that they're familiar with. It has a good location as far as being central to town. We do get the extra piece of property with it that we could use at another point for whether it be another town office or to be able to build something for storage or anything like that. This was a cooperative effort between the police department and the select board in order to draw up this plan. So is it the 100% dream that we want? No, it's not. And we've been very honest with that. But do we feel that right now, cost effective wise and in a short term turnaround, could this be a long-term home for the police department? Yes, we 100% feel that this is a good plan with a minimal tax impact on the taxpayers and voters of New Ipswich.
Any other questions? All right, thank you,
Thank
John. All right, Bert Hamill's running for a 1-year term. That's a position vacated by Jay Hopkins.
All right, my name's Bert Hamill. I'm running for a 1-year term for selectman. I'm currently chairman of the planning board, have been for the last 3 years. I also served on the police building committee. I actually wrote the 2 reports that was presented to the selectmen on the pluses and minuses of, one, the original proposal for replacing building 2, and also wrote up a brief synopsis of using the current building that the police station are currently housed in, which was not the first choice of the building committee, but it was a consideration by the building committee. I'm hoping to serve as selectman, hoping that this is not going to be just a 1-year deal, but who knows. But I am looking forward to serving the public, and I'm hoping that the public will call me with any problems they might have, since I have connections to both the planning board and hopefully, if I'm elected, we'll have connections on the Board of Selectmen. Any questions? Go ahead.
If you get elected to selectman, do you have to vacate the position on the planning board or not?
I cannot be the chairman or vice chairman on the planning board, but I do have 2 years left to serve on the planning board, which I intend to serve out. We don't have an abundance of membership at the moment, and we do have 1 member on the board who has medical problems, but for reasons of his own has declined to resign. So I will continue to serve as long as the board will have me. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
Any additional questions? All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you, Bert. All right, are there other candidates in the room who I'm unfamiliar with?
Go get him, John.
Hello, my name is John Schaumloffel, and I'm a candidate for a position on the planning board. And I've lived in town for about 2 years now. I've been an alternate on the planning board for about 6 months. And I view the role of the planning board as sort of multifaceted. We want to not just protect the nature of the town, but also uphold its regulations and the regulations of the state of New Hampshire. And at the same time, we want to facilitate what the property owners would like to do within those boundaries. So I'm a candidate for the planning board.
Any questions for John? Roger?
How many year term is that?
I think it's a 3-year term.
And what's your past experience in your line?
My past experience, in addition to my service on the planning board here, is I was a planning board member for a little more than a year where I lived previously in Hamden, New York.
It is a 3-year term.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I believe it was. So,
John, what sort of changes would you like to see implemented over your 3-year period of tenure?
well, that's up to the planning board. I would say that there are probably two things. I think one is regulatory and I think one is operational. I think operationally, the planning board should prioritize the needs of the folks that come to the audience or attend the meetings, and we address those first before we get on to other business to say, because we are serving the residents and the property owners. And then the other thing I think we need to consider in development planning and in planning in general is putting a timeline or an end date on certain projects before the developer or the property owner has to come back to the planning board. And the reason for that is so that we monitor things over time. We see that there's progress, and if there isn't progress, we evaluate how that goes and how things are going in the context of the regulations or in the town changes.
Is there any sense on your part that there's a need to continue to add additional buildings, i.e. tax value, to the town, or do you believe status quo? Is it a growth plan in your mind, or is it a status quo plan?
Well, I don't actually have individual plans or desires to do either. That's more on the guidelines of whether or not the town has or develops or revises a master plan for itself in one sense. There's certainly no certainly financial disadvantage to more development for the town, whether it's developing the tax base, providing employment opportunities for town residents, or other things that the planning board would facilitate in its role.
How would it do that? How would it facilitate, for example, getting businesses to come into New Ipswich so that we would have, in fact, commercial tax revenues as well as residential?
Those that purchase property or thinking of purchasing property and come in for a conceptual discussion, it's facilitating them through the process.
Okay, so you see yourself as a steward of the process, not necessarily moving the town in any particular direction.
As an individual, no. If the town was going to move in a direction, they might do that by adopting different regulations, or they might do that by adopting a master plan.
Okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions for John? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other candidates in the room? Well, thank you all for a speedy meeting this evening. Thank you for coming out in tonight's cold. And we'll see you at the polls on March 12th. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Messinic Regional High School. We look forward to seeing you there.